This video discusses how to change column widths within Excel. I'll be using version 2010 for the demonstration, but these tips work for any version of Excel. When column A contains text that is not wide enough for the cell, those words will hang over into additional columns like they do here in A1. You can see it says March 8th weekly sales report, and because there's nothing in B or C1, those words hang over. However, when you get down into rows 2, 3, 4, 5, there is text in the column B. Therefore, the words in column A are chopped off. In this case, column A needs to be widened. To widen a column, you place your mouse on the line in between the column letters. You can see right now the mouse is placed on the vertical line between columns A and B. The mouse has changed shapes so that it looks like a plus sign with arrows pointing left and right. Most people are taught to adjust column widths by clicking and holding and dragging a little bit to the right. Not quite enough, we'll drag a little more. Not quite enough. And you can see at this point, Michelle Peterson is the longest name. We've dragged too far, so now we're playing the game of shrinking it back. I'm going to go ahead and undo each of those so I'm back to where I started. Now while that works, it is very time consuming. And if the spreadsheet contains more rows of data than fit on the screen, the cell that contains the widest data might actually be down in row 30 or 40, and you can't see it on the screen. So later when you're scrolling, you'll discover that you have to widen columns again. So the shortcut is to place the mouse on the line, again on the vertical line between columns A and B, and simply double click. Now when you double click on that vertical line, the column will automatically widen to the width of the widest entry in that column. Well, the problem is that for column A, the widest entry in the column is the title itself. So what we want is for that column to only widen to Michelle's name in row 7. Again, I'm going to go ahead and hit undo. What we want to do is we actually want to take the titles and we want those cells to be merged and usually centered, the text within that merged cell. So I'm going to go ahead and select A1 and B1 because these are the two top row cells, and that's where I want my title to be centered. I'm going to click on the icon for Merge and Center. At that point, if I take my mouse to the line between A and B and I double click, you'll notice that it goes to the width of Michelle Peterson, the longest name, ignoring row 1. Why did it ignore row 1? Because the text in row 1 was merged, and centered in this case. I could have had it be merged in left or even merged in right. But the point is that A1 and B1 were first merged together into one cell. Therefore, when the column width is adjusted, it will ignore that row and thus widen to the width of row 7. However, you'll notice that B2 is not wide enough. The words sales amount hang over right now simply because I don't have anything in column C. But as soon as I begin to type into column C, you'll notice those words are chopped off. So I want column B to be widened as well. I'm going to go ahead and undo so I'm right back to where I started. So I've got the text typed and I've merged and centered A1 and B1 together. I'm going to go ahead and select all. To select all the cells, I'm going to click the little gray box above row 1 to the left of column A, the box that has no column letter and no row number. This is select all. Then I'm going to place my mouse in between any two columns, usually A and B, until the mouse changes into a plus sign with arrows pointing left and right, and then double click. You'll notice that when I double clicked, it widened both column A and B simultaneously. It ignored all the remaining columns simply because there's no text in those columns. This is by far the fastest way to widen columns.